support this very, very touchy motion that touches on a very heinous crime that has not been given the weight it deserves. I want to thank the Committee for Labor for going boldly to inquire into this menace that is happening in our plantations. I also happen to have a few of those plantations neighboring Kericho. They are in Sotik and areas like Kebesasini, which border my constituency. And the findings about this menace in Kericho is actually a case study of what must be happening everywhere in the plantations and everywhere else in the workplace. As a practicing lawyer, Mr. Speaker, I've had occasion to represent clients who have made allegations of sexual harassment within the banking working place, within the sports working place, even dare I say, even within the worshipping areas. And therefore, the problem of sexual harassment is not limited to the plantation sector, but it is widespread in the workplace. And I want to, at this juncture, celebrate our artists from Nyamira, my constituency, who composed a special piece about sexual harassment and women in the workplace. The Sungusia band who sang about boss, a boss who was harassing and cowing lady workers to sexual favors in hotels in exchange for promotions, in exchange for salary increases. And while we do this, Mr. Speaker, this House must rise to the occasion and import very heavy penalties for these sex pests who are marauding the workplaces and abusing their positions in office to unleash their bad manners on otherwise the very respectable employees. And while I'm at this, I must admit that Kenya and indeed Africa is a paternalistic continent and country, and therefore claims of sexual harassment or talk of sex hurts women more than it hurts men. And that is why for men who are accused of doing those things, they are celebrated and taken as heroes when they are actually criminals, while the consequences are different for our sisters, mothers, and daughters. And therefore, that is why in dealing with this menace, this House must come up with serious legislation that makes this offense as harsh as it can be, so that those who are still harboring any idea that women are not the angels God has given us must pay heavily for such consequences. And as I support, Mr. Speaker, I want to beg of us leaders to also take caution that we are targeted through those sexual episodes or whatever pictures that are going to be taken of us, because people out there are out to bring down serious leaders in this country. And for the videos taking the rounds, targeting a semblance of a leader in this country who comes from where such a position has never been held by a lady, I want to say shame on them, and I want to encourage all women to stand up and ignore that rubbish, discharge their responsibilities in this country as if nothing had happened. I submit and support.
Member, just remind you that the motion we are discussing has no video or anything to it, because I've heard every member now wants to. It's almost basically you're almost basically also supplying that video. The more you talk about it, this chance goes to the member for Korea West.